Welcome, Keith Silverstein. How are you? He got carried away. Okay. For the last time, I'm Swedish. How does that one go?
For the last time, I'm Swedish. Something like that.
All right, let me properly intro you. Guys,
Yes.
This is Keith
I'll wait.
Silverstein.
You don't see me. Go ahead. Wait till
Not
I'll wait.
only is the voice of Torbjörn in Overwatch, but also, I don't know how to pronounce these all, but I'm going to do my best.
I wanna hear
Zongli
it.
in Genshi in Impact. Hawk Moth on Miraculous. We're going to talk about that. Hisoka in Hunter x Hunter, or Hunter by Hunter, or Hunter times Hunter.
It's just Hunter x Hunter. But you're doing great.
What the fuck is the X in between the hunters? And Factor the Crocodile on Sonic the Hedgehog, and God, so many more. But these were just 5 because, one should announce with 5 and then get into things as we talk.
Right.
Welcome.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Talk to me about all the stuff behind you. Are those all characters you've voiced or just things you're a fan of?
All right. So I have always been a collector at heart. I collect Magic the Gathering. I collect records, vinyl. People, look it up, kids. And I love toys. I've always loved toys and such. But what I did with the toys is I limited it to what you said, things that either characters I played, or some of them relate to a show I was on. Like they don't always make a toy for your character, but they may have a little poster or an ad or something that relates to your show. So yes, all this stuff, and it continues on the walls around me too. But it's everywhere. So you got I got Lupin the Third here. Everybody's here. They're all around me. Torb's over here. I got lots of them. There's a whole shelf.
Oh my God, the tiny ones are so cute. You know the little keychains? Those are my absolute favorite. I do love your story about voice acting because it's a very unique, you had all these things that you were passionate about, and then how you honed in on it was particular. And if you don't mind like summarizing that guy, because I know you've told it a bunch, but it's it's a really beautiful way of how you said, oh, this is me.
Yeah, well, you make it out to be such a nice thing. I was a young kid who was average at a whole bunch of things. And I knew I didn't want to do like a 9-to-5 job. I was very indecisive. Everybody else was like, I'm going to college and I'm going to study this specifically. And I was very like, I don't know what I want to take a couple years. I want to figure out what I want to do. And so at one point I thought I was going to be like a dancer. I thought I was going to be a rapper. I thought I was going to be an on-camera actor. I thought I'd be a screenwriter. Like there were all these things and I didn't focus on any of them. So my uncle called me up, and he was an incredible artist, and he had created all these characters and poetry to go with them, basically, to simplify it. And so he wanted this poetry read in different character voices. So I called back literally like on his answering machine and read a bunch of stuff in different voices for him. And he ended up casting me. But the thing was, it was a number of roles, and it was a real studio with a real engineer, which I'd never been in before. And there was another actress there that I was working with, even though our stuff was separate. We were, so I saw how she worked and she saw how I worked. And I just fell in love with it. And after she left, my uncle encouraged me just to goof around on the mic, just for no reason. It had nothing to do with the project.
Yeah.
And I goofed around, did a bunch of voices. I had them laughing, and the engineer was laughing, and it feels
good when people laugh at what we do, right?
Well, I was being serious, so I was sad.
Oh no.
No, I was goofing around, and which I do all the time, pretty much. And so then I just followed up from there, and I was like, I got to get into some classes. I got to figure out how to do this, and that was it. I've never turned back. I haven't wanted anything else.
Okay, so talk to me about Hawkmoth then. Your lead. What does he sound like?
It's an interesting character. He's very cliche, so there's not a lot to him that is really subtle. We dub it. Like the animation's already done for it.
Yeah.
So it's also very quickly paced.
Yeah.
So there's generally not a lot of room to languish in any one moment. I have less freedom probably on that show than anything else I dub.
Do you enjoy that? Dubbing is hard.
It is. And it's limiting.
Yes.
But he's, pretty straightforward. He's either scheming or he's very angry. You know what I mean? He doesn't have a whole lot of, there are moments where you get some of his some of the other emotions like sadness and the reasons for why he's doing what he's doing.
Yeah.
And I like those shows.
What does he sound like?
Fly away, my little Akuma, and evilize them. He's very over the top cliche.
Totally. One of the questions that I do like is, what was your toughest role? I've been in the booth sometimes where I'm really digging a role, but my voice sometimes doesn't want to play nice, and then it starts dipping into like raspy or too low pitch when it's supposed to be higher pitch. Like, have you had moments where you're like, oh, I'm slipping, and they know it? What do I do? Or finding the right tone.
I'm trying to think. Well, I've had difficult sessions for a number of reasons, or just characters that are hard to play. One I go to a lot is I worked on an anime called Monster, and I played this sociopath. His name is Johan.
Yeah, of course, they're all called Johan.
They're all named. I don't know if they're all named Johan. I don't want to piss off people named Johan, but this particular one was named Johan. And here's the thing: I could get to the place in his voice quickly. Well, let me say it this way: when I'm recording, I like to joke around. Like I always do. So I do my line. If there's time in between, I make a joke. I go back in. We do another line, because that's how anime works. You go line by line, right? So, so I started doing that. But this character was so just depraved and so dark and so just lived in this dark place that it felt very like I wasn't being honest with myself or with this character to try to joke and then jump back down to this dark. Like I could do the voice, but I just felt like that was 40% of it.
Yeah.
And I was making it difficult on myself by being myself and recording the way I always do. So I told Patrick Seitz was directing, and I told him, I am not in a bad mood, and I love you just as much as I loved you 10 minutes ago, but I'm not gonna, goof around in between takes because I just feel like I'm cheating on this character. And it takes me a second to mentally get to the spot where I can be to play him. So I feel like I'm being honest, not just giving you a voice, but I'm feeling what he should be feeling.
Yeah.
And so that was, that was a little difficult. Like, and figuring out where he lives in his spookiest was easier for me, but where he lived at his most charismatic was difficult for me to figure out.
Hey, how you doing, Sonic? Back to the crocodile here. I love me some Sonic the Hedgehog.
I played Sonic the Hedgehog as a kid. It's the first game on the Sega Genesis, right? So, I mean, I have fond memories of it. So it's very cool to have been able to voice a character in that series. It's dear to my heart.
Do your girls love it, Sonic? Do they watch a lot of the stuff you voice, or not really? It's like the opposite.
No. Listen, I have full control over my girls' memories, and I've learned this early on. No, this is I love this power I have. So as they were young, they're 9 and 5 now. But, starting from when they were young, like, they don't know what's popular on TV. Not when they're little. They know what I put on the TV. So they're going to literally grow up and be like, oh, my God, Dad, you were in everything. And then they're going to realize, he wasn't really in everything. I don't force them to watch something they're not into. There's a bunch of them that they just will watch. They liked Glitter Force a lot. That's on Netflix, and that was one of the more.
What was your character there?
Oh my God, it was one of the most fun experiences I've had.
Tell me all.
It's anime, it's dubbing, and well, it's actually interesting for those of you who know. If you haven't checked this out, first off, it's on Netflix. It's great. It's one of those like Sailor Moon style, like girl power superhero girl teams. And I play 3 of the 4 bad guys, and I read for this character Ulrich, who's the big bad wolf.
Who's a whole lot of fun. He's very evil, but he's down here. So exciting, and
he's just a fun character. He's one of those full body characters.
Yeah.
You don't just throw a little slight something, you just go with it. And so I voiced him, and I got cast for him. And then as we started recording, as these new characters came up, they said, hey, guys, give a shot at this character. And then there was a character named Brute, who's this big troll who's not really that smart at all. So you can really hear it in his voice. But he does whatever he has to do. And he's got a little bit of it's not quite a lisp, but a tongue problem. He's got, like, he doesn't understand his tongue.
It's stuck in there, yeah.
Right. And then a little while later, there's a third one who's kind of the leader of them. And he looks like a jester, and his name is Rascal. And for Rascal, we put him up here. So Emperor No-Go doesn't like what you're doing. So they were placed in just different enough spots.
Yes.
And they were unique enough character-wise,
Somebody wants to ask Matreyes, however I pronounce that. Can I ask how he felt about Zaza Lamel's character? Zaza Lamel? Zaza
I
Lamel?
think that's pretty good. Zaza Lamel.
Zaza Lamel.
You sound pretty good. That one was a big deal to me. Before I was doing voiceover, my favorite fighting game of all time was Soul Edge or Soul Calibur. Loved it. All my friends, we would get together and we would just play for hours and hours. It was the best fighting game. We loved it. So I auditioned for an ageless, immortal character. No name, no project. We don't know. All secret. Shh, we don't know.
It's always secret. Yeah.
I know. And I booked it. And I wasn't booking a lot at that time. You know, I was pretty new on the scene. So I was like, awesome, so cool. So I go in to record. I go to a studio I've never been to, which now I've worked with a lot. So it makes me smile because it's always nice when you remember, like, this is the first time I walked into that studio and met these people.
Yeah.
And the producers came out and greeted me with artwork. And the second I saw the artwork, I was like, oh, because I knew this was so. And then, of course, I saw the logo and I'm like, this is a Soul Calibur game. Oh, my God. But I, tried to be cool. Like, you're not going to fanboy.
Pursed your lips and you were cool.
I was trying my best.
What was it like to take on a role like Lupin in the third? And then also, what was it like working on Genshin Impact, which we haven't talked about? So,
okay. All right. Well, Lupin was a dream come true. I grew up watching Lupin the Third. It's one of my favorite animes. It's always has been. I never thought I would get an opportunity to play this character. There have been a number of actors who voiced Lupin the Third. Tony Oliver being, for me, the most notable. That's arguable for other people. I'm just saying for me, and who's a friend of mine I work with all the time. And so I got an email audition from Bang Zoom Entertainment that was, they're casting for Lupin the Third and Jigen, two of the characters for a movie. And I had to read it a couple times because I was like, I know these characters have been cast for years and they're set, but apparently they just wanted a different tone. The movies are a little more adult in terms of violence and sexual, themes and stuff.
Yeah.
So I auditioned for both of them, and I don't think I've been as excited really to get an email back that I was cast, because I got email back. I'm reading it. You're cast as Lupin the Third, blah blah blah. And I read through the whole thing, and I went right back to the top. You were cast as Lupin the Third. I read it. We're happy to tell you were cast as Lupin. I'm looking at it. I'm like, because I couldn't believe it. And it was just a personal thing. It wasn't like this was a $1 trillion job or, or I could retire after. It was just for like, are you serious? So I had to read it over and over. Anyway, those who are Genshin Impact fans, how I got the gig was the most interesting part. And the cool thing about that was I was driving through Burbank running some errands or something. And I got a call from my agent and I was told, that there's this game and they want you to come in. Can you come in like within the hour? Is that possible? Your schedule says you're free. So it was like, okay. And they were like, it's a guaranteed one session and it may be more. Like it may be more, but we don't know. So I kind of dropped what I was doing and I went into the studio and went in and I met the, director and I met the, producers and, the people that were there. And they talked to me about what they wanted me to do for this character. The character was Zhongli from the game was Genshin Impact. And they played a YouTube video of me voicing a character from Bleach. And they were like, well, we want kind of like this character, which was so funny to me. It wasn't even like a character I'm really well known for. It's kind of the character on Bleach. I don't even remember his name that fans will remind me. Remember you did this? Oh yeah, that was one episode. I did the younger version of so-and-so or the dark version of this one guy. So anyway, we started recording and not even knowing if they were going to keep me. It was literally like, we're going to try you.
It's like a test.
It kind of, but it was not an audition because it was a paid session.
Yeah.
And we did it. It went great. I had a lot of fun working on it. There were a lot of words that were very difficult to pronounce and I needed lots of instruction, but thankfully I was not the only one. And then it just continued on. They were like, yeah, we got it. We're going to do more and more. Now, the thing that's interesting about that, though, is like all games, you never know where a game's going to go. So probably when you auditioned for Overwatch, you had no idea that it was going to be this world. How would you know it's going to be a worldwide phenomenon unless it already is when you audition? So yeah, and then to watch this thing just kind of blow up and see its impact, if you will, on the world has been, again, it reminds me a lot of Overwatch in the sense that it's crazy. It's insanely popular. And so now, I mean, it's kind of fun when you go in after you know how big it is. You still do the same work, but I don't know, there's something else, like it was cool before, but now you're like, more cool.
Guys, I want you to know that when we go to cons, like we pull out our suitcases and I pull out my little Sombra print, freaking Keith has boxes and boxes, and he opens them up, and here's this character, and here's this character, and here's this character. He's got so many characters that he has all these prints to sign for them, because obviously if you're, you know, a Genshin Impact fan, you don't want a Torb autograph, so they're gonna need that. And this guy's just like, it's mind-blowing. I just had to put that out there. And you're so organized with your prints. I've observed that as well. It's beautiful. Can you leave us with a Torb line and a Zhongli line?
Osmanthus wine tastes the same as I remember. But where are those who share the memory? And?
That was sexy.
People always underestimate the engineers.
They're almost the same guy.
They're almost the same guy. Keith, thank you so much for coming.
This was a pleasure, and I really look forward to when we can just hang out. I would love to have you over and have a nice big party here, and
can't wait to party it up.
I know. Soon.
Thank you, Keith. Don't get your beard caught in the letterbox.
I won't. I never do.